Hello there guys, welcome back to Younes Talks Football, welcome back to a brand new video. I hope all of you are doing well today. I hope you're doing better if you are a Chelsea supporter. If you're not, you're probably loving life. I've seen many suggestions that now it looks like we've become the new Arsenal. Many rival fans are looking at Chelsea with popcorn and drinks and just laughing their faces off. This is, you know what's crazy? I see this whole situation, and when we're talking between ourselves, when I see, just Chelsea fans in the comments or whatnot, I know there's other fans in the comments too, but when it's mainly Chelsea fans or I'm talking of other Chelsea fans, we can discuss these issues and I don't feel bad whatsoever, right? Well, not whatsoever, but I don't feel embarrassed, right? Because we're talking amongst ourselves. It's our own internal situation. But then when I talk to other fans, I see them talking about us. I'm like, flipping hell, man. I want to throw myself into a hole and just don't come out. It's a crazy situation we're in. We're going to dissect what has happened because we've got more information in that as of the latest situation at Chelsea Football Club. Before we get into it all, though, I want to let you guys know two things. Firstly, social media links in the description. Twitter and Instagram are there, so make sure you're following on those. And secondly, video from earlier on, because today is a double upload day, where myself and the OG of Chelsea YouTube, there's many people that look at me and go, you're the OG. I'm like, no, I'm actually not. I came second. Son of Chelsea, who's active on here, came third. But Joe Neil Zeka came first, and you can catch that video that we done earlier on. Well, we done it yesterday, but it was uploaded earlier on today. You can catch it here if you haven't seen it already. We had a good half an hour conversation about what it was like during the AVB times and whether this is actually worse, because we were there actively calling for AVB to get sacked at the time, and then he did and we were happy. And now we're in a situation about Graham Potter where the circumstances are a bit different. What people want is a little bit more different, but is this time worse than then? And we went into a bit of detail, so make sure you go and check it out. Let's get cracking. What's the latest? What's happened? Well, we'll start off with some good news, and I have to clarify this at the beginning because it's just good to see and it's good to know. Cesar Azpilicueta is okay, and he's back at the training ground and he's fine. Here it is. So Chelsea confirming that following a concussion injury sustained during Saturday's game against Southampton, Cesar Azpilicueta has been discharged from hospital and is recovering well at Cobham. So very, very nice to see him back up on his feet. Normal, was shaking hands with Graham Potter earlier on, having a conversation with a cup of coffee in hand. So it's nice to see that he is fine. He won't play against Spurs. I'm pretty sure he won't play. And I wouldn't normally have had to pick him either, because I know Reece James is flying back into that lineup anyway. But good to see him back. Let's get cracking into the news. What has gone on now? So the one concern that many people have had, myself included, around Graham Potter, and why, if Chelsea even did want to sack Graham Potter, why they can't. And the one issue was the financial situation. The fact that Chelsea paid Brighton £20 million to alleviate Potter and his staff from their duties at Brighton, so then they could hire all of them, and then give him a £12 million a year, 5-year contract worth £60 million just to Graham Potter, up from what he was getting at Brighton, which was $2 million a year max. We increased his salary sixfold. Great decision there, Todd Bowley. Fantastic. Anyway, 5-year deal. And then his staff, right? Which accumulates to a 22 million package if we were to get rid of his staff as well. So total, it would be £82 million that we're throwing out of the window to Graham Potter and his staff if we were to pay out their contracts. Now, it seems like the panic around many Chelsea fans, myself included, was that if we do sack him, we're going to have to pay that. Todd Bowley, Egbali, the club will have to pay that. It turns out that's not the case. And it turns out obviously, as I've mentioned, when it comes to business and it comes to Todd Bowley, Egbali, when it comes to the transfer window and the way that we were doing business, it looked fantastic, right? So I was baffled and I was saying, how can we just give out a contract of 12 million a year for 5 years to a manager that was getting 2 million a year at Brighton? It doesn't compute and it doesn't make any sense. Now, if we sack him, we're going to have to pay him all of that. I initially thought that would be the case. So that was the one time that I'm looking at Todd Bowley and Egbali and going, what kind of business decision is that? It doesn't make sense. Well, I can say it doesn't make sense because it's not the case. These guys have actually thought it through, apparently. So, what is the latest? Well, check this out. This is apparently what's in place. Sources have also rejected any suggestion that Potter has not been sacked because of the amount of compensation he would be due. The source pointed out that it is common practice for clubs to include termination clauses in contracts. So apparently there is, according to, it was Matt Law that wrote that article, if I'm not mistaken, The Telegraph, but whoever in The Telegraph wrote that, it was Matt Law, I can confirm that now, it was Matt Law. I'll show you the article just so then you're not, I'm not BSing. Here it is, it's part of the article. Chelsea's manager retains the faith and support of ownership despite leading his side to 2 wins in the last 14 league games. That's from Matt Law, as it says on the article. In the article, it goes on to talk about the compensation. So, we now know there is a termination clause in the contract. Now, as nice as that is to hear, the fact that if we were to sack him, we wouldn't have to pay out all of that money, fantastic. It means that we're not under any financial pressure to get rid of him, which means that we can just base it on results and base it genuinely on what is happening with him and the team on the pitch. Can say off the pitch too, but apparently that's rosy. So on the pitch, right? But what is the clause? The termination clause, it's a clause. It's a clause. It would mean that Chelsea have a certain quota, a certain amount of games, or certain form, or there's something where if that were to happen, that termination clause is activated and Chelsea can use that if they want to sack him, and then they would have to only pay him a certain amount of what is in the clause, which we don't know. But as long as the clause has not been met, unless, right, I was going to say as long as the clause has not been met, then Chelsea, if they decide to sack him, would still have to pay him the entire thing. Now, unless if the clause is, if we decide that we want to terminate you, we're going to only give you this, we're only going to give you that, right? If that is the clause itself, then happy days. We're in a good situation here. Because at that point, we're not forced and we're not held by ransom because of how much he would have to get in order to actually just tell him, thank you very much, but we're going to have to let you go. So I hope that's the case. I hope such a big contract has a clause in it of, look, if we're not happy, we're going to activate this termination clause, right? I hope it's that. Because right now, results are an absolute catastrophe. And, I don't know what to say. Now, talking about Graham Potter and what the latest is in terms of the feel and what is going on and how is everyone assessing the situation, well, let's get into it. This, according to James Ollie of ESPN, Chelsea are determined to give Graham Potter time to improve the club's fortunes, but are wary of growing fan unrest over the team's results. Now, if we're going to talk about results, let's talk about results, because this is the thing. At the end of the day, this is a results-based business. I'm starting to see a lot of people, I'd say a lot of people, but that lot of people has actually significantly reduced. For me, my opinion, I'm happy to see it that way because I can only see it from what I deem as realistic. And the realistic situation is the results are unacceptable right now. It's reached a level of unacceptable. If they were just a little bit bad, fair enough. Like they were. At one point, it was just a little bit bad. Now it's really bad. You know, it's crossed the line of, oh no, we'll be fine. If we just ride through it, it's going to be okay. Like, it's gone past that. I wouldn't mind if it was still there. It's gone past that. And we'll see what happens against Spurs and against Leeds and against Dortmund and all of that, because I guarantee Potter will probably still be in place for those ones at least. But let's talk about results. Here's the Premier League talking about results. Check this out. Talking about Cooper and Nottingham Forest. Their overall form since Cooper's contract extension is evident to see, where Nottingham Forest are in 10th place based on the last 15 to 16 to 17 games based on the 7th of October, basically. The 7th of October, how is the Premier League table looking? Nottingham Forest are in 10th. Now, you're probably thinking, hang on, Chelsea are in 10th overall. So where are Chelsea if we had to base it on form? If we had to base it on since that time, where are Chelsea? Well, if we're going to count the last 14 matches, the last 14 games, this is where Chelsea are. 15th. 15th place. 14 league games played, 3 won, 6 drawn, 5 lost, 9 goals scored, 11 goals conceded, -2, 15 points. That's where Chelsea are. And it's bonkers because there is a case to be made. You have to be honest here. There is a case to be made that many of those games included Chelsea teams with injuries, with a certain suspension to Felix, without new players, like Felix and Enzo and them lot weren't here. Fair enough. This is why I said, when all the circumstances are now gone, when the players come back, when Felix returns, when all these new players that we've decided to sign actually start playing, you expect an improvement. You expect something. I'm not saying it's got to be astronomical. I'm not saying we've got to start playing prime Barca football, but there's got to be a level up. A level up, just one level up. Just something to tell me, we got something new and it's starting to show. It's starting to, maybe we're piecing something together here. We're looking a bit faster. We're looking a bit better. We're scoring a little bit more. We're conceding a little bit less. And to be fair, we haven't really conceded much. We're just not scoring at all. That's the problem. But you'd expect something. In fact, what we get is with all those circumstances now ticked off, and many players come back, and new players after a run of games were losing to bottom of the league managerless Southampton. This is where it's mind-boggling. It's mind-boggling for me. It's absolutely mind-boggling. And for me, results come first. Results are key. Anyone will tell you this. Normally, it's results-based business. If the results are falling below a certain line, which they are, you got to be concerned. I am concerned. I am so concerned. Let's keep reading because I've got somewhere where this is leading to. So let's keep reading. This is from Jacob Steinberg saying Chelsea to give Graham Potter time to build after spending heavily during January, and the expectation is that the former Brighton manager will be in charge at the start of next season. This is scary to me. That is frightening. That's frightening that we're getting that, and personally I'd like to think that's not actually true. I'd like to think that's the way that they're portraying it at the moment, to see what the reaction of that will be over the next few games. That's how I think it's actually being analysed from within. Todd Bowley and all them lot, they're not stupid. They're not stupid. They can't be. They can't be. Especially as new owners, especially after all that money invested. They can't just be thinking, it's going to be okay, don't worry, it's going to be fine. Next season, it'll be fine, it'll be fine. They can't be thinking like that. Surely they can't. There's many people that reference to me about Todd Bowley's success with the LA Dodgers in the States, right? And how they're always competitive and they're always at the top and they're always doing really well. And even when they're not winning, but they're always there and it's great investment and it's being managed really well. And I'd like to think, right, they're not dumb. Clearly they know something, right? They have a level of intelligence. Hence the success they've had in their lives and the fact that they're now at Chelsea Football Club and they've decided to heavily invest, and I feel like they've invested well. They've addressed certain things and it's been very, very nice up until now. They're not dumb. So I'd like to think that the next 3 games, based on the reaction that we've heard of, don't worry, he's not going anywhere. Let's see how everything's going to react. I'd like to think that Spurs, Leeds and Dortmund are the 3 games that are going to tell the new ownership about everything that they need to know. That's how I can't help but think that's how they are seeing it, surely. If they are genuinely just going, no, all of this is okay, don't worry, next season, I'm scared. At that point, I'm scared. Because personally, my own opinion, I am not convinced that Potter has what it takes to turn this around. I'm not convinced. Do I want him to turn it around? Absolutely. Absolutely. Who wouldn't? He is Chelsea manager. He is the coach of my club that I support. Of course, I want my team to do well. I want my team to compete. I want my team to be competing at the top. I want my team to grow. I want my team to develop. I want us to become beasts. Yeah? Even if it takes time. Become beasts. I want that, but I want to see. There has to be signs. There's no sign. The body language at the bare minimum is completely off. And then when you put in a performance like you did against Southampton, it's just, after all this time that we've had, and there's just nothing. I'm scared. I'm genuinely scared. Why? Because we've still got to play all of the big 6 teams. We've still got to play them at least once now. We've still got to play every single team. We've got 15 or 14 games remaining. Actually, no, 15. 15 games remaining? 14. Somewhere there. I think we've got 15 games left. I think we've played 23, so that would mean we have 15 games left. We've got 15 games left, and in the middle of that, we've got to play the rest of the big 6. That's a sticky situation. If we continue playing the way we're playing now, which right now, and based on experience, and based on what we've seen in the past, how we've seen other managers fail, how we've seen things go downhill, all those little trends and patterns that you just notice when things are not going well, which we are seeing now, and anyone that's not blind to it can see it now, you just know results are just not going to pick up. I want them to pick up, but I don't think they're going to pick up. And this is where I'm concerned. And this is why I'm saying surely the new owners are not looking at this going, nah, don't worry, it's going to be fine. Surely they're looking at the next 3 games and going, it has to turn around. We have to see something. And if we don't, then at that point, we are going to be forced to take action. Some people are on the level of, we're probably not going to go further with Graham Potter. He's not going to be the guy, right? He's not the one to take us to the promised land, but he has to stay until the end of the season. He has to stay because, well, if we get rid of him, we're going to have no one. I'd like to flip the switch on that. I don't think that's the case. My own opinion, I think it would be best if this were to continue. And you know what? Spurs is going to be a very, very, very big game. A very big game. Because he's already lost the fans. As far as I'm concerned, a significant majority of fans switched on Saturday when we lost to Southampton. Right? There were people that were on the fence, or some people that are going, no, we'll give some time. They saw what they saw against Southampton, and now they're going, nah, it's unacceptable. This has to end. Right? Many have switched. The reaction after the game said it all. The match-going fans have turned. I genuinely think the Spurs game is a redemption opportunity, or it's going to go to the depths of hell. There's a chance, if we beat Spurs, many fans, I feel like, will go, oh, okay, now you know what? You've bought some time. No problem. Because it's Spurs, the one team that we can't lose against, right? We just can't. We can't. Especially, I think, the last 5 times we've gone to Tottenham or White Hart Lane, we've not lost. So I think it's a case, or I think that's correct. Or at least I think it's the last 5 times, or the last 5 games against Spurs, we've not lost. But that's going to be key. You lose against Spurs, that hits personally. For many fans, that's like, no, it's Spurs. It's Spurs. No. Can't accept it. If we put in another performance like we did against Southampton, against Tottenham, he's finished. He's finished. He's finished. Now, if we win, redemption. There's a chance of, okay, we might be turning this around. Fair play. We might be able to carry something until the end of the season. But we have to see how we play against Leeds, how we play against Dortmund. This is why I think the next 3 games are crucial. But losing the fans is going to be important here. You lose against Spurs, the fans are going to be cutthroat. The fans are going to be cutthroat. And this is where it becomes untenable. This is why I make the case that if we were to lose more like we did against Southampton, and that continues, it would be best to get rid of him and get an interim or a caretaker or someone, even if it's one of his staff that hangs about and takes the team up until the end of the season. Something just to alleviate, because that change can bring a relief. It's happened countless times with us. Come on, we got Lampard, we got Tuchel in, relief. Boom, all of a sudden, fantastic, we win the Champions League. Got rid of AVB, relief. Assistant manager, Di Matteo comes, takes the helm. What happens? We win the Champions League. I'm not saying that's going to happen again. It might, to be honest. If we did get rid of Potter, we might win the Champions League. But I'm not saying that because I genuinely don't think that's probably going to happen. But it brings relief. It brings a sense of, we can breathe, to all the players, to the squad, and go, okay, now we've got to pick up on something new. And when you learn something new, when you try and pick yourself into something new, you're automatically encouraged, you're automatically curious, you automatically try to learn, you automatically push yourself a little bit because you have to adapt to what is new. That can carry us until the end of the season. In the meantime, look for an elite manager. That is what I would do. But I'm telling you now, I genuinely don't think it's going to get better. I hope it gets better, and I hope we beat Spurs. And that does lead me on to a point that I do want to make, because I am seeing some fans going, "Oh, no, I hope we lose." Just because I can't bear it. I hope we lose. Like, no. Especially against Tottenham. No. We could have an antichrist in charge at Chelsea, right? But Spurs are Spurs. We got to beat Spurs. I would always want my team to win. That comes without question, and that should be the case. But we have to be realistic. The situation is the situation. So let's wait and see what happens. Let's wait and see. All I'm going to say is I genuinely think results will speak for themselves. Results will speak for themselves. We'll wait till Sunday. We'll see what happens on Sunday. And then we'll see what happens against Dortmund. We'll see what happens against Leeds. But I think the Spurs and Dortmund game are going to be key in and of itself. We'll see what happens. Now, let's get to some positive news before we end, which is a certain contract extension or new contract. Check this out. N'Golo Kante is almost back in full training for Chelsea. He warmed up this morning with the first team as he recovers from a hamstring injury. As reported yesterday, Kante's contract talks also very positive. Be a big boost for the club if he extends. And it's looking like that is going to happen. It's looking like there was some sort of breakthrough in the last couple of days, which means that Kante is going to be extending. So I'm happy. It's an option, and we'll see what happens when he comes back. I just hope he doesn't get injured again, because it is a lot of money in terms of salary and whatnot, but it's N'Golo Kante. It's funny that with Kante, it doesn't seem like there's any fuss. It doesn't seem like there's any hardship. It's very, very smooth. It just seems like, contract is now being done, sorted, happy days, humble, calm, no fuss. Great. Great. It's N'Golo Kante. We'll see what happens when he comes back. I'm looking forward to when he comes back. We need to have Kante back in this team. I feel like he automatically lifts our midfield a little bit. We'll wait and see how he collabs with Enzo. That's going to be interesting as well. But Kante, definitely extending, it seems. Happy days. Let me know your thoughts down below in terms of everything that we've discussed today. I'd love to hear your opinions, and don't forget to catch the video that I done earlier on with Joe. That is uploaded and ready to be seen, so much appreciated, and I will see all of you tomorrow for a brand new one, or brand new two. You might be getting another double upload. I've got a surprise in store for you guys tomorrow, or we have a surprise in store for you tomorrow. Keep your eyes peeled. You're going to like it. Have a good one. Thank you so much. Hit the subscribe button if you are new. Hit the notification bell to be notified once I've uploaded. Smash the like button if you have enjoyed this, and I will see all of you tomorrow. Have a good one, people. See you then. Take care and peace.